Today is coffee day, which means I have to go to my favorite coffee place and get coffee. However, that place is a 30-minute drive from where I live. So, because of that, here's a video of me and my little ramblings in the car on the way to get coffee. Enjoy. Always use your blinker. Steve McQueen by M83, really good. I even edited it to a movie clip just because I thought it fit so well. It's the scene in The Right Stuff where Chuck Yeager flies the speed of sound for the first time, because to me, that is one of the coolest and most significant events in technological and scientific history, because it was this moment. It's kind of like the first flight, it's even more interesting to think about. In like 65 years or 66, we went from the first flight ever, first time man had built a powered machine that could lift him off the ground, to landing and setting foot on the moon. And like 66 years. So one of those steps was when Chuck Yeager flew Mach 1 for the first documented time in the Bell X-1 aircraft. And it's just one of those moments that I truly love. And so that song, I think, really captures the excitement and the feeling of first setting out to attempt this thing that's never been documented to be done. There were people who'd claimed before to do it, and they've done it in like free falls, but they've never like done a powered flight past Mach 1, and they weren't even sure what was gonna happen. And then the sonic boom, and they thought he died, but he didn't. He was very much alive and well, flying Mach 1. So, anyway. That's that song to me. That's kind of what I think of when I think of songs, and this is something I don't know if I've talked about on YouTube before. When I think of songs, or when I listen to music, I have visual stories playing through in my head. And when a song has a scene in my mind. If it's a good song that I like, it has a scene. I think that's partially why I like the Adam Young Scores project so much, is because the scenes were defined by the title of the song. The songs were already based on actual events that happened, and so you just had to fill in the visuals of that event with your mind, which are obviously not going to be realistic to what actually happened, but that's movies aren't realistic to what actually happened all the time. Anyway, so I'm a very visually imagination-wise, I'm a very visually driven person, and music fuels those visual experiences very, very powerfully. And so a song, if it has a really intense feel to it, like something from like Converter by Lost Years, then it's got a really intense, probably like a chase scene kind of a thing going to it. The song DeLorean Dynamite by Todd Terje, really good song. I had no idea what image I had in my mind until the very end of the song, and then I realized, in my mind, this whole song is like a chase sequence. And at the very end of the song, I don't know if you've ever heard it, I'm not going to play it in this video probably, but if you've ever heard it, in the very end, it has this really, really light synthy like epilogue sort of a thing, and it's so good, and at least in my opinion it is, and I just have this image. I'm not gonna say what the image is because I think I'm gonna try to recreate it. A lot of these images I have in my head from songs are things that I want to create as movies, and I know I never will be able to create all of them. That's obviously very impossible, and a lot of them are just beyond my capability technologically to do, as far as I know. You know, I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that if I really sat down and thought about it, I could accomplish it. But for the most part, it's not gonna happen. But that's one of those things. I have a bunch of like segments of stories in my head, and I think I want to try to tell those segments of stories, but I don't know how to do it. Or not I don't know how to do it, I just don't know if it's best to release them all separate as their own separate videos, or to make one big video of completely unrelated. That's why I need coffee. Of completely unrelated story segments. So, you know, I don't know. Superman by Goldfinger, you know, really good song. If anybody played Tony Hawk's Pro Skater as a kid, you probably heard this song. It's a jam. It's a number one jam. You know, not as number one jam as what was it? Fahuagats by Strong Bad, also known as Everybody to the Limit. Everybody to the limit. The cheat is to the limit. Everybody come up for Fahuagats. Yeah. Anyway, that's a good. It's a good song as well. It's a good jam. Number one jam. It's a good number one jam. It's, you know, it's not. It's I don't know if it's ever been officially released as a single. I have to check Google Play Music for that. I don't even know how you would ask Google Play Music to play that song. If you know the joke, then you'd understand why it's so hard to imagine Google Play Music coming up with that song when you ask it to play it, or Apple Music, or Spotify. I don't know if Spotify have a voice search function. Maybe Google connects to it. I don't know. I don't have Spotify or Apple Music. I just have Google Play Music. That's all that I can tell you for sure. Alright, now you're probably wondering, why are you holding the microphone? Why in the world would you do that? Well, it's because my mic stand is too huge, for one, and two, the little mount that I use, it's a little clamp that could easily go on my steering wheel, but then I realized, you know, steering wheel's got to go around a couple times, and there's this cable. It could easily clamp somewhere up here, but it doesn't fit. The screw doesn't fit the screw that my microphone connectors go into. I actually have two connectors with two different adapters, and it doesn't really work. It doesn't work that way. So, I don't know if I explained, it's coffee day, and we're going to Caribou Coffee, just like last year. But last year I didn't do anything like this, because last year I also didn't even have this camera. Last year I just had my Canon T3i, and you know what? My Canon made a solid camera, and it was a good first camera for me to be messing around with and using for film and video. But I gotta say, having Sony FS700, it has been amazing. And it's a 7-year-old camera coming up here, but I don't care. It is amazing, and I love having it. And I don't know, you know, I vaguely know who had it before I did, and I hope they got a lot of good use out of it. It seems they did, because it was very dusty, and it looks like it had a couple marks on it. It was from California, so who knows. Oh, Take On Me by Aha. This is a good song. This is another good song. A number one jam if I ever heard one. Of course, we're in my favorites playlist, so all of these are going to be number one jams, but, you know, I'm just going to keep commenting on them because they're excellent pieces of music that you should listen to if you haven't ever. There's like a hair on the microphone. There we go. I think I got it. So here's this town agency. I left a bunch of the people who lived where I currently live before me had a bunch of floppy disks, and they left them in the attic, and the floppy disks looked like they had like pictures and stuff on them. So I was like, well, I mean, I'd like to have those if I was a person who took photos back in 1999 or 2002 or whatever it was. Good grief, people. All right. So I was able to find out, like, through neighbors and stuff, where they lived, and I returned them. And I didn't actually, like, meet them. I just left it on their doorstep. So that was interesting. Check out these birds. Just doing bird stuff, being birds. So what do y'all think about Smash Ultimate coming out? Because I know that looks exciting. I'm personally ready to drop another $60 on it. Unfortunately, I think it's a little crazy. Just to put into perspective how much work Masahiro Sakurai has put into those games, and to be like, that's your entire life, man. That's everything you've ever done is Smash Brothers, pretty much. I mean, he's got a couple other things like Kirby and other stuff at HAL Laboratories, but like for the most part, what he's known for is Smash Bros, and that is a big legacy to have for sure. But it's also like, that's it. That's the whole thing. That's the whole shibab. That's the whole thing. I don't know if there's anything else to even comment on as far as that goes. But yeah, so it's interesting to put into perspective, like Masahiro Sakurai releasing another Smash. Now I'm pretty sure this next Smash game is just the previous Smash game, but with some refinements, some stages, and because like I think it's in the same game engine. I don't know for sure, but it's very interesting. I think it's very interesting to think about what Nintendo has actually accomplished with the Switch. I'm about to get passed by two trucks, so I'm going to put my microphone down so that I can properly drive with trucks coming up next to me. All right, so quick detour before I talk about Smash Ultimate anymore, as if I know anything. I really haven't done that much research on it. But I actually live near where the American Gothic house is. So if you've seen the famous painting, American Gothic, with the dude with the pitchfork and the farm wife, all that like early 1920s, 1920 or 30 something, I believe, is when it happened. It was when he made the painting. I could be wrong. Maybe it was 50s. Whatever the case is, I don't know the history of it. I just know I live nearby. So, yeah, it's kind of cool. I went out there, took a look at it. I was like, wow, what a neat house. But, no, it's cool. It's just, I really like living out in Iowa. I mean, a lot of people that I know don't really like Iowa. And that's unfortunate because at least a lot of people I know that I met in college and who were getting ready for successful careers were very impassioned about getting out of Iowa. And one thing I have noticed is a lot of them did, but a good portion of those people who did came back because they went somewhere else and they were just not used to it. And they realized, Iowa there's familiar culture, there's familiar everything, there's familiar people. It's just a familiar place. If you grew up here, I'm not saying for everyone in the world that Iowa is a familiar place, because it won't be. And that's okay. That's totally okay. It's actually really interesting when you are to be in Iowa and meet someone who is not from Iowa. I recently met a guy who was from like San Francisco, and it was very clear that he was not like from here. It was very clear, and that's totally all right. Like, it's clear because it's the truth. It's like if I go to Las Vegas, like I have twice, it's very obvious I'm not from there. However, Vegas is filled with tons of people who aren't from there, so that's probably not a good example. I feel like I went to Louisville, Kentucky one time, and that I feel like it wasn't as obvious because it's still pretty normal relative to Iowa out there, you know, the rural life. But like if I went to downtown LA, or if I went to just LA in general, I think people would be like, what's your deal? You know, you're odd. But then again, a lot of people go to LA, a lot of people not from there. I'm trying to think, what's a large city that has a lot of people from, like New York. Let's go with New York. If I went to New York, I don't know anything about New York. I don't know how to survive. Oh, speaking of New York, New York City by Owl City just started playing. If I went to New York, I would have no idea what I was doing. And I might just straight up die. No joke, because I have no clue. But you know, I want to go to New York, though. I want to go back there, and I want to earn back. I want to go there, and I want to see all the touristy things, of course, because, you know, I'm not from there. So, yeah, I definitely want to go see, like, Ground Zero, though. That is a place I would like to go there to pay respects and just to see, you know. I think it's a significant thing in American history that I was alive for, and so I think that would be a good reason to go see it. Because it's like, you know, you go to see, like, the Civil War memorials and stuff where they're like, you know, this is the Battle of Gettysburg and all that stuff. And it's like, oh my gosh, that's just crazy that, like, all of that happened. But it was nothing that happened in your lifetime. And it's so far removed from you, like, by generations of people that you can't really relate to the idea of, we're here, an army of other Americans could come over that hill at any time and we'd be in battle, you know. It's just such a far removed idea from us right now. So anyway, all that to say, I want to go to New York and see that just because I think it's personally significant since it was part of my life when it happened. All right, guys, merging on here. Is he going to go faster than I am, or am I going to pass him? I'm really hungry, by the way. I haven't eaten yet. I don't know why. I was going to make this coffee thing, and it was going to be so simple, but now it's not simple. It was way more complicated. So yeah, we're doing a whole podcast for Coffee Day, and we haven't even talked about coffee. So let's talk about coffee. I did a little experiment back in 2000 what? I don't even remember. I did a little podcast, and here's the thing. I'm talking a lot right now, but I talk a lot anyway when I'm driving. So this is really not abnormal at all. Gosh, what was I? Coffee. Yeah, so earlier in the year, I actually did an experiment to see if coffee was something I was physically addicted to, and to see if I would go through caffeine withdrawal symptoms. And so what I did was I removed caffeine. Hang on, I'm being passed. Okay, so what I did was I removed caffeine from my diet for a week. And I guess maybe I should have gone a little longer than that just to make it more... I don't know. It wasn't scientific at all because I didn't document before. I didn't really write down before getting rid of coffee how I felt. But since it is a completely subjective study, what I should have done was like taken my temperature and checked a whole bunch of other factors. But I didn't do that. I didn't do any of that. I wonder if I checked my heart rate daily, if that would have affected anything. But even then, like, caffeine obviously increases your heart rate, but you feel worse when you're not on it. Anyway, so what happened was, it was one of the most disappointing studies I've ever done, because I felt like no effect of removing caffeine from my diet. And so, oh well. went a week without coffee for no reason. Well, it wasn't for no reason. Data was collected, and I decided that I don't really need to cut caffeine from my diet at this point. I don't know. Maybe I do. I'm not a dietitian. There's nothing that's been like a problem to point that I need to make any dietary changes at this point. I'm sure at some point there will be, but like, I don't know. We'll see. But if there are, I don't know that caffeine will be the thing I need to cut. But maybe it will. Who knows? You know, maybe I'll start developing like heart palpitations or something, and caffeine will make that a problem. That I hope not. I really hope not, because I love coffee. Coffee is just, it's so good. Which is why I'm driving 20 miles, 28 miles, 22, 28 miles. It depends what map you're looking at, which is weird because 6 miles is a big difference. Being past, guy's driving a BMW. It's I don't know if it's a nice car or not, because I've never driven a BMW. I've been in a BMW before. I've ridden BMWs, but I've never driven one. So I don't know how they handle. Honestly, this Honda Civic, I could not possibly imagine having any other car. It's perfect for me, and I love it. Honda Civic, affordable and reliable. That's a really good joke. So there's a whole Instagram page, and it's one of my favorite things ever. It's this entire Instagram page dedicated to this particular guy's 2001 Honda Civic. And the whole joke is that it's affordable and reliable. And it's just amazing. I love it. I really like Instagrams like that. For a while, I know maybe it's still going. There was like a Majora's Mask. What was it? It was a Majora's Mask Twitter page, and it just would every day, multiple times a day or every day. I forget which one it was, but it'll post a quote from Majora's Mask. I think I might still be following it. I don't remember though. It's. I bet you it's the kind of thing where I've seen it so much I have tuned it out of my mind entirely. Okay, so we're coming up to Fairfield where the Caribou is, which means I'm gonna put the mic down because I will not be on the highway. I'll just be here, coming off of the interstate. So I'll possibly get back to you guys either in the car or in some other form. Alright, so that's the drive. I'll be back with hopefully coffee. Since it is the fall and I rarely step outside my little box of iced vanilla lattes, I decided to go for a maple crafted press, an iced maple crafted press. And I gotta say, it's not bad. I actually really like it. Maple's got a nice sweetness to it. I mean, it's sweet, definitionally. But, you know, it's like, as opposed to vanilla, it's so weird because it's not like caramel. It's not like caramel, but it's not like vanilla, but it's got the same sweetness that both of them have. So anyway, all of that to say, I like it. It's good. Let's go. Kind of the wrap-up segment because I'm almost back into town. I just want to thank you all for watching and hanging out with me on this coffee day. I hope I have this posted on coffee day. It'd be really terrible if I had it posted afterwards. I should be able to get it up, but I gotta I'm gonna make food when I get home because I'm hungry and I want to eat. I'm gonna probably have bacon, eggs, and hash browns with Cholula poured all over it. It's beautiful. It's delicious. It's tasty. But yeah, I hope y'all have a great day. Because get some coffee, because coffee is good stuff. It's tasty, and I enjoy it. And if you don't enjoy it, that's fine. You don't have to. But you're missing out. All that said, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Oh, I'm working on a video. I've been working on it all summer. It's just been kind of my project, and it requires a lot of After Effects work. Honestly, I fully admit I could have had it done 2 months ago, but I'm just working on it as I want to work on it, which is why I do video as a hobby anyway and not as a career, so that I can work on it when I want to work on it, and I don't have pressure to push things through that I have not put my heart in. So whatever the case is, I'll see y'all next time.